You're listening to a Faith Matters podcast.
Fortunately, it's just us live right here with you today on Faith Chats is what we're going to get into today. And we thought we would talk about connection in a world where we are more connected than we've ever been, and yet people are at their most loneliness. Is that how you would put that? They're most lonely than we've ever been. Yeah, there we go. So, like I said, we live in an age where we can contact almost anyone instantly, and don't we all know this? This is how we do connection these days. We text, message, we follow and we like. Isn't that a good one to connect, eh? However, with all these ways of connecting, are we truly knowing one another? And I think that is the question for Faith Chats today is, Denise, are we connecting more or are we losing connection?
Oh, I'm probably a little bit of an unusual one to ask because I really like one-on-one connections.
Yeah, I agree. Me and Denise do a one-on-one connection every Monday, don't we, Denise?
Yep.
It's become
maybe
something
supplemented by caffeine, but
yeah, it is, and maybe some sweet stuff. But it's become something that has developed over time, and I think because we do the radio show together, and we were on a faith journey together as well. So we have many things in common, but often I think I do all the talking, don't I, Denise? And you do all the listening sometimes.
I think we tag
We
team.
tag team. Isn't it wonderful? But I have loved this point of connection because we get to discuss so many things, and we can be really real with each other. There's a lot of honesty there, and there's a lot of trust in that, and trust gets built over time. I think when you're making connections with people, we don't just trust people at face value. It takes time to build that connection and relationship. Yeah, I found a really depth of value there. Hope you have, Denise.
Oh yeah, I love it. It's great.
Yeah, it is good. It's so good. And we have our own little seat. I think we should just name the seats Maree and Denise. There you go. But we're not going to tell you where. I mean, you could join us, but no, we'd lose that art of conversation that we have and we enjoy so much. So, but looking at social media and the idea that we are so connected, but are we really?
It's a really interesting one. It's very easy. You can be as engaged or as unengaged, disengaged with people as you want. So I think it's really easy to create a moat around us, create a distance that, when you go out even walking in the street or waiting at a bus stop or in a cafe or at a meal table, you so often see people looking down at their phones and there's a person right in front of them that they could talk to. And to be fair, New Zealand's got probably a pretty good reputation. We're pretty good at actually seeing the person, looking beyond the screen. But overall, as a society across multiple cultures, where you have space, I think, like in New Zealand, we don't have that huge amount of population, so we've got a bit of space around us, so we've kind of got a little bit of resilience to step outside of that and see other people and engage with those. But certainly when I've been in places overseas where it's just so full of people or so busy, there's so much going on, your world actually gets smaller because you just have to survive it. And I can remember years and years and years ago walking down a shopping street just before Christmas in London when I was about 19 at the time. And I walked down the street and I was like, oh, sorry, sorry, all the way down because it was just impossible not to bump into people. But once I'd been there for a bit longer, I was like, oh, this is ridiculous. So I stopped with the niceties and I just walked down the street bumping into everyone, as you had no option but to do at that time. And what I found really funny is I noticed the Australians and the New Zealanders and the South Africans walking down the street going, oh, sorry. And I got told at that time I'd picked up the English accent like the locals couldn't tell. The people I was talking with regularly, I'd just sort of soaked up their accent. So even if somebody did say sorry to me, I'd kind of go, that's fine. But I'd say it with an English accent. So they just assumed I was some
local
English person who had no concern for those around me. It was just very interesting. But I found that being in that environment with a lot of people, that I didn't have the capacity to keep up the friendliness. So, I mean, you think about how there are so many people living such full, stressful lives. It makes sense that on the one hand they crave somebody that they can really share their heart with and connect with at a deep level. At the same time, they just might not have the capacity for it.
I found it interesting, the visual you gave to us at the beginning of your story there around the moat. And instantly I could see a castle and a moat around it.
And a big tall wall.
Yeah, and we have to... Often the moats were filled with things that would eat you.
Crocodiles,
sharks, I don't know. Eels that sting you. I don't, who knows? But what I'm saying is that the moat is to separate us from something before we enter in. And it's an interesting concept to think that we have moats around us today, and often, maybe we could think of that in regards to phones. Is the phone the moat? We think we're connecting, but are we really? How many times have we put something online and we have somebody pushes love or like, and we go, such and such liked my thing, or such and such didn't like my thing, or didn't even look at it.
Yes.
And yet they're in my friendship group. Like, what's that about? How many times do we take offence, or how many times do we read into things by that connection of social media? And are we gauging our popularity or our friendships based on likes and loves and answers to posts online? It's quite sad, Denise. I feel quite sad about it.
I think likes promise connection but failed to deliver.
Yeah, let's just let that land a little bit. I agree.
Because
it's an easy way out, isn't it?
You want people to see your stuff. You want people to respond. And they have on a screen somewhere far, far away. So you don't actually get the connection that you're after. But at least I guess you just become part of their information stream. They're like, oh yeah, such and such is doing that at the moment. So they know. But do they reach out and actually engage with you? Actually, it's a beautiful... Last night I had a lady who... You know how when you're in Messenger, it pops people up along the top of people. This person's just come online now, and you can see.
I don't look at that, Denise, but okay. Oh, there we go.
And I thought anyway. This woman came up. For a number of years, we have been part of a group that connects once a month. We haven't met this year, and I'm not entirely convinced we met last year. Maybe we did once or twice, but anyway, she popped up on my screen, and so I'd been thinking about her, so I actually took the time. I find it real awkward, like when people are live and you know they're on Messenger, it's almost like unless you know them really well and you want to have a conversation, it's a bit weird to actually like message them in the moment. But by the time I finished writing my message, she'd gone off Messenger anyway. But I just said, been thinking of you. You just popped up on my screen, and it's, really nice to see you there. How are you going? This is what's happening in my life. And she got back to me, and heaps of changes have taken place. And she was like, thank you so much for reaching out. And I was like, wow. And that was a text. That wasn't that deep. But as a result of that interaction, I was like, well, why don't we have one of our little monthly get-togethers? Let's call the whole crew, get together, one off just once this year in a couple of weeks' time. And she was like, yeah, that would be amazing. And I contacted one of the other people in the group who will host it at her place, and she was like, I bumped into her a couple of weeks ago. Oh yeah, I've been thinking that would be a good idea, but she didn't actually action it.
Yeah.
So what was so fascinating was going from seeing someone and thinking of them to connecting with them at least saying I'm thinking of you, which she really, really appreciated, and I could have left it at that. But by us getting the whole crew together, because there's a few of us who've had significant changes, then we can actually get excited about it together.
Yeah, so the question is, are we taking the next step?
Yeah.
Or are we stuck in the likes and the loves or the quick texts to respond to something? And I do want to unpack that a little bit more, Denise, because studies show that we're the loneliest we've ever been as a group of people, as a community, as a place where people congregate. Are we having conversations? And I'm not just talking the how are you, hi, how are you, I'm good conversations, because how many of those do we have? I mean, it can't always be honest about where we are in life in the moment, but we can offer a bit more than I'm good.
Yeah.
That would be a bit of a challenge for some people, because we're losing the art of communication. And I've even noticed, sometimes if we communicate too much, people kind of look at you sideways, like you're talking for too long.
Well, I've got
what's that about?
I've been told off for answering a question, how are you, honestly.
You really?
Yep.
Oh, not cool.
The expected response was fine. Why did you tell them that?
Please don't say anything else.
That's what's really going on.
It means I have to notice you and check concern, or might have to actually have a conversation with you.
The person I was talking with didn't mind it. It was an onlooker, somebody who was beside me going, why? No, don't. Don't have that conversation. Fine, move on.
Just say fine and move on, buddy. Push like and love and move on. But don't engage. Avoid
at all costs.
That's my saying there, right there. Avoid at all costs. Backpedaling, beep, 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 beep. Out of here. Gone. But, that is not going to grow us as human beings. And we're not going to develop when we just push like and love, or just say I'm fine. No relationship is happening there. There's nothing happening. It's quite a cold environment. We do need to challenge ourselves, I think, in this area a bit. Is what is it to hold conversation? What is it to... You don't have to ask deep questions like I would as a counsellor. So sometimes conversation with me isn't the best thing, because I can go there, right there, and we are there. And unfortunately that happens. But not everyone's like that, thank goodness. They might just ask some more surface stuff, and we can learn, again, the art of conversation. Denise, I was watching something the other day, 7 Days or whatever it's called on TV, I don't know, some information-based thing, and they were showing these cafes, or a cafe, there was two different cafes actually. One cafe was having a table specially put aside for people who didn't know each other and just wanted to make conversation.
Oh, wow.
I know. So you could sit at this table and everyone knew that, this was about just strangers meeting and having just conversations over a coffee, having time together, and it was doing extremely well. There was another cafe that was doing like dance parties before work. No alcohol.
Really?
I'm loving this. Like, people were getting dressed up for this cafe.
Wow.
They were having a ball. They honestly were just going hard for about an hour, dancing, and they were having like coffee shots. This lady was walking around with a coffee shot. Yeah,
but dancing.
They were just having so much fun. There was so much laughter, so much joy in these people. No alcohol. No, apart from the stimulant of coffee, but we can deal with that. We're talking about people who are going to work afterwards in a totally different frame of mind. So this wasn't after work when they were all kind of like, oh, I'm so tired, I just want to go home. This was gearing them up for having a fantastic day where they just were full of laughter and bubbles and goodness. Yeah, and these cafes were doing extremely well, and it made me think about, oh my gosh, how disconnected are we, and have we lost the art of having fun together, of laughter, of being real, do we only do that when there's alcohol involved, or we have to go out at night to go somewhere for that to happen? So it really made me think about connection, relationships, laughter, and how often do we have that with people anymore? Does it become awkward when we do because somebody goes, well, what are you having such a good time about with somebody? You know, like, what, you know, what's going on if you're having a good time? Yeah. Honestly, you can kind of sense that around people. So we have these moats up that are there to keep you out.
Interesting. I'm just thinking about, we had a conversation a few weeks ago about our comfort zone and how when we're comfortable, if you think of yourself as being in a castle and you've kind of got what you need, you've got your moat around, you've got your protection, we talked about how your comfort zone does not stay static, it does not stay stationary. And so I think of a castle as stationary walls, but what if our walls are actually slowly shrinking?
Ooh.
Unless we invite people in and then they expand. One thing I'm thinking, following on from that, is because we can be so comfortable, generally speaking, today, maybe we don't need each other, so we don't reach out. Maybe there used to be more community feel because we were there to support each other and help. And yet when everybody puts on this image that they've got it all together, other people look on and go, oh, well, they're fine.
Yeah, that's exactly right, yeah.
So because we don't actually show our need or our vulnerability, people don't connect with us because they think that we're too, like, I mean, I've had a pretty quiet lifestyle for a few years, and years into it, my mother's still saying, oh, but you're so busy. I'm like, no, I'm not. I used to be, but she's got it in her head that I'm too busy.
Yeah, right.
And so when people look at us, maybe they see, even if we have changed, maybe they see who we used to be, and they just see, oh, that person's far too busy. I don't want to inconvenience them. I don't want to put them out. How many times do you connect with people for an hour or less? Like, so many people have got their calendars so booked up that I am really happy to see you. I'll see you at 6 o'clock, and then at 7 I'm just going to pop out because I've got this on. Because everything's so diarised and tight because we're fitting so many things in that, you know, how often do we actually go out with our friends and just sit, and it's okay if it's silent?
Yeah. So true. We don't sit in silence, Denise. I don't think that's ever happened. But I totally agree. You know, interestingly enough, I've got a friend coming to visit tomorrow, and I've known this woman since I was, I think, 11 or 12 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's have to say
a
it
couple
quite
of
like
years
that.
ago. I mean, really recent.
You don't have to say it like that, Denise. Oh,
I'm trying to do the maths, and
I
I'm
should
like,
have brought that up. I just fell into that hole, didn't I? But there you go. I'm not even going to tell you how that long that is, but you can gauge that by our response. It's a long time. But how wonderful it is to have a friendship that goes right back in my early years. And I mean, this woman knows me. She knows everything about me, and she's seen me through the different seasons. And we're still friends. You know, that's a good thing.
Yeah, and that's the amazing thing, isn't it? We think that when we show people those weaknesses, well, I mean, some people, when we show them those weaknesses, or we might not show them, they just come out. That pushes them away and we don't hear from them again. But how precious to have someone who's seen all those things and is still part of your world.
Oh, I can't wait to see her. I have a great love for her. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. And I've got a few friends like that, and I might not see them for ages. And when I see them, nothing's changed. Yeah. We just catch up like crazy. It's just awesome. How many of us can say that these days? You know, that we have got long, real, true friends in our lives, not just acquaintances pushing like and love and a comment here and there, because we need to challenge ourselves on that a little bit. Is that really showing any depth of anything. I mean, it's great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't do that, because I mean, I do that. I do that on all of your posts, and I'm hoping you do it on mine, Denise. There we go. So I mean, we want to encourage each other and support each other in the work and the things that we do in life, or the stories we might share, but don't stop there.
And don't be afraid to ask questions. I can remember meeting someone and they're just like, tell me about yourself. Well, I told them the most boring, safe, sanitized version of me that I possibly could. I told them all the figures and all the facts, and, you know, this and this many kids and this, and we live here and blah, blah. And I finished really proud of myself, because I talked for a good, 5 minutes at least, told them all about myself. And he just goes, I don't know anything more about you now than I did before you started talking.
Interesting comment.
And I said, okay, so ask me questions. If you ask me questions, I'll answer them. And so he started asking questions, and we had the most interesting conversation. Obviously, I started asking them back, but it wasn't a one-way interrogation. But because of that, we connected. I had given him the safe version, and that he was not going to settle for it. So maybe if somebody's being really safe and cautious with you, maybe ask a question. Follow up on something they said. I've got three sons. Oh, wow. What are they?
Tell me about your sons.
Where are they at the moment? And then you find out a little bit more. It's still safe territory. And then dig down a little bit and just sort of ask a few questions down one direction, and actually find out something that's meaningful there.
I met a woman this morning, if she's listening. Hello, it was great to see you, great to meet you. Her name was Helen. I think that was her name. I'm pretty sure.
Or if not,
it
probably rhymes.
Something like that. But anyway, what a beautiful soul she was. I met up with some people for coffee before the show. And I'd never met this woman before, and she noticed some crocheting that I did. Maybe she did or didn't, or maybe I told her that I'd done that. I can't remember. And then she said she sewed, and so I asked her about her sewing, and I tell you what, I had the most fun conversation with her. It was awesome. What a beautiful human being to meet in the moment, and discover things about her, and she learnt things about me. But it was more the laughter and the fun and the joy of conversation more than anything, Denise. And it's really warming for the heart, isn't it? And how many times do we cut conversation by thinking, oh, well, we've talked to you long enough now, must move on. You might ask something too in depth, or you may be talking, well, maybe it's just taking up too much, or I don't know. I think we've got these boundaries up that aren't healthy anymore, where we isolate ourselves because we're not actually open for conversations, even the difficult conversations that we might have sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. An interesting angle is about connection, that we kind of think we have to show our good side. And considering that this is a faith chat, so let's do a little bit of a pivot about, rather than our connection with each other, what did Jesus teach us about connection with people?
Well, he was a very connected person, was our Jesus. He did not shy away from conversation. He did not shy away from asking questions, and he didn't shy away from talking to just about anybody, and usually the ones that others didn't think he should be talking to. So he had the art of connection. We could learn a lot from the heart of Jesus, how he travelled around into many different cultures and reached across all areas and conversed with people, took an interest. I imagine even laughed with them, Denise.
What?
Oh, lo and behold.
Jesus laughed?
I know. You know what? When I was doing my Bachelor of Counselling, there was this picture on my tutor's door of the laughing Jesus, and I hadn't really thought about it before, but it's an image that stuck in my mind, and it was a picture of Jesus with his head back in full laughter.
Wow.
I know. And it brought me so much joy, because so often we hear people read scripture, we hear things in
the
stories.
shortest verse in the Bible was Jesus wept.
Yeah, there we go. And so, the picture we have of quite a solemn man. But Jesus laughed. I am sure he laughed many times and had a great sense of humour. He would have had to be able to survive us, But don't forget that Jesus was full of communication and connection. That's what he came to do, connect with us. So if it was important to him, it should be important to us.
The thing that I find really amazing about the people that he hung out with were the people that were marginalised, the people on the fringes. He also he also engaged with the people who had influence. He wasn't put off by people's standing in the community, but equally, he didn't, like those ones who were the down and outs that everyone else judged and dismissed, he didn't do that.
No, he didn't. I mean, he taught us so much on status and how it doesn't actually mean anything, because Jesus also did not shy away from the hard conversations, from the difficult questions and the difficult answers, especially the ones who did hold position in those times, and how they saw themselves as kind of on a pedestal, greater than everyone else. And he really brought them down to a level of, actually, we're all here, we're all on this level together. You're no greater than, and these are not lesser than. And so he had a real ability to bring truth in his conversations that he had with those back in the day that really made life miserable for those who weren't doing so well.
But I think the thing was, we know there's a supernatural element to it, but he really saw people for who they were. He saw what their hearts were. And so if we then translate that back to ourselves, what do some movies say that we watch? I'm thinking of the first Avatar movie, where the connection between the two main characters, guy and girl, romantic relationship, but their thing was, I see you.
Yeah, right.
This person was an avatar. They were in a different body. Their physical human form was in a machine, and they were just using this avatar to move around this world. But the girl, when she looked at this avatar, she was saying, I don't just see this that you're presenting to me. I can see through that, and I can see who you really are. I can see your heart. I can see your care. I can see all those things about you. And that's the sort of thing that Jesus saw the people who were unwell, or the people who, whatever their issue was, he saw them for who they were, because they were being so overlooked by everyone else. And yet the people who were arrogant and up themselves, he saw them for who they were too. And those are the people you're talking about.
Absolutely.
He's like,
excuse me, hello.
It's probably not ideal, guys.
Yeah, eye contact, huh? Come down to my eye contact.
And that's exactly what I'm thinking about. You think of biologically, like babies need to have that contact with other humans. They need to have eye contact.
Yeah.
And when you're getting to know somebody, you will have eye contact, because they say eyes are the light to the soul, or the gateway to the soul, and you can tell, you learn a lot about a person, actually connect with them in quite a significant way when you can stare them in the eye. And now I'm eyeballing you.
I know, we're eyeballing each other. Denise.
You can't have this conversation and stare at the board here in front of us, but there's a depth that builds when you look at each other, and I think that is potentially that you can have. I have amazing conversations with people through my phone. I loved connecting with people and chatting with them online, like actually talking to them. I'm one of these people who will push the button and make the call, not just text. But is a whole nother level when you're in the same room, when you can literally eyeball each other.
For sure.
There's just something about it, and it's not just something warm and fuzzy. It's actually the way that we're wired is for connection. And so when they've sort of observed, say, orphans or kids who have been neglected, they notice that lack of connection. It changes their wiring.
Absolutely. This is something we should all be knowing. And we do know about the Romanian babies that were left to fend for themselves in cots, had no human connection. And the result of that was so heartbreaking, and we can't fix that because the foundation of how the brain works, how it's built, starts in those early years. And if those connections have not been made, we can't make them later on. It's the foundation of who we are. So, you know, as a counsellor, I often know that a lot of our trauma sits in those earlier years, the lost connection, the disconnection, and the unspoken language of a baby also that hasn't had connection, and how that can affect the adult. So we can be confused, we puppies out there, wondering what the heck's wrong with me, when really it's those foundational beginning years where things probably were out of kilter and we got mixed messages, we learnt things that others said about us that weren't true, or maybe we didn't connect at all, and that's a dangerous area to be in. So this is how important connection is. We're in our mama's womb from the time we're conceived. We are connected. And even as when we come out through the umbilical cord, we're still connected. And when that umbilical cord gets cut, then we're connected to the mama and the papa. You know, we've got skin-on-skin contact. We hear the voice. We get that first look of love, which signals to the brain, oh my gosh, I see you. You're mine.
Yeah.
You belong. Yeah. All that gets fired off straight away. If those signals are missed, you know, we're in big trouble.
So you young mums who think that you've got to get on and do important things like doing the dishes when you've got a little one, stare into their eyes.
Yeah. Nothing more healthier, nothing more connecting.
It is not
nothing
time
more
wasted.
important than that first look of love towards your loved one. And from there on, as we grow, you know, we learn so many things around us. But as adults, we have a responsibility to the next generation to connect.
But that's actually fascinating, because the next generation after us have grown up with the technology, and so they don't know what it is to live in the way that we did when we were young.
Absolutely, and we were blessed, Denise. I don't know for you, but for me, it was on your bike, go to your mate's house. You weren't contactable. You'd probably told your parents you were going to go, you know, hang out at such and such's house. But in fact, you'd gathered up all the kids in all your mates, and off you were to the swimming hole. You've probably biked several miles together, listened to some great music on the radio, talked a whole lot of rubbish, went for a swim, got back on time to head home, and nobody was the wiser. You know, I remember having a blast as a kid in those environments, being able, when I think about what we're faced with now, which is, you know, everyone's on demand. Are you home? Are you there? Like, there's no having to go and see anymore. It's just, what do you want to do? Like, I don't know. Like, where do we go? Everything's about costing money. I mean, it cost us nothing. Cost us pedal power and vocal power and a lot of laughter and a lot of stories that you know, were created from those earlier years. And
I guess that's the fear aspect too, is the fear of environments, what could happen in that environment. So there's a lot of that, and some of that is, I mean, it's
some of it's real.
Good to be aware, and it's good to be careful, but I think maybe we can pass those fears on to our kids, and they can actually carry things that perhaps they're not actually mature enough to handle. Yeah. So just, and
we don't want to pass our fear on.
No.
We don't want to make somebody else fearful because of our own experiences. Yes, the world has always been a dangerous place. You know, we're dangerous people, all of us, in some form or another. But not everything is a danger point, and we must be given permission to live. To live our lives. We started off, are we losing the art of real connection? So maybe we want to think about that this week. Maybe it's time to call somebody. Maybe it's time to make that connection.
I like what you said about the next step.
Yeah.
If you think of somebody, could you actually reach out to them somehow? If you regularly reach out to them somehow, could there be a question that you could pick up on something that they're saying and just listen.
The art of listening. We didn't even unpack that one. That's a massive one, because sometimes we're so busy with giving our own answer that we're not actually listening to anything. We're just waiting for the opportunity to say what we want to say. So the art of listening, to truly engage with another, to hear them. It's like, I see you, so I hear you, and that's okay, even if it's not something we want to hear.
Yeah, it's not that we're listening necessarily to fix their situation. Sometimes we flick into, oh, well, I could help with that mode, but sometimes people know what help is available, what they have access to. What they're really, really lacking is somebody who can just sit with them in the midst of.
And hear them, not fix it, but hear. Not do anything, but just be there, be present. There's a beautiful word that many of us are searching for, to be present with another human being, another person, and to be heard and to be seen. Yeah. So, with all these ways of connecting, are we truly knowing one another?
You've been listening to a Faith Matters podcast. If you have questions, email us on faithmatters98.1fm@gmail.com.